this is June the 6th, 2022, and as well as being the anniversary of D-Day, it's also WWDC 2022, Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, a tech jamboree, mostly about software and developers, but sometimes hardware as well. So, trying to keep two iPads awake. Need caffeine on one of them. This is a two-parter. This is the Actually, WWDC starts at 1800 British Summer Time, obviously tonight, and I will be monitoring it from a Premiere in, which is somewhat of a thing at the moment. Anyway, back in March there was another announcement. So, the power supply on my MacBook Pro died. Yeah, it sparks and all that sort of stuff, and it no longer works. And I was in Stroud at the time. I think it was a Monday, and the announcement was on the Tuesday. So for the first time ever, I ordered a replacement from Anker. Although I had a couple of Anker power supplies anyway, smaller ones, which kept the thing going. And I got it delivered to the Premiere in, and I was very impressed with it. And surprisingly enough, another Apple announcement, and I have a Logitech portable keyboard arriving today. There could be a bit of a meme developing. Go away, watch an Apple announcement, get something from Amazon delivered to Gloucester. Premiere in. Who knows? Anyway, okay, so my MacBook Pro, 2016 MacBook Pro, Skylake processor, which were problematical. Butterfly keyboard, problematical, although that's been updated because I needed a battery swap out. I used to run, what was that thing? SETI at Home. Looking for extraterrestrial intelligence, which ran all the cores at 100%, and the battery just died completely. So there's a new battery in there. When they replaced the battery, they also replaced the keyboard. However, 8 gigabytes of memory, not enough. 256 gigabytes of storage, not enough, and the Skylake struggles. So really speaking, what I want to do, because I had it in early 2017, is do an upgrade, and an M2 MacBook Air would be appropriate. Okay, so it would be 16 gigs storage, 16 gigs RAM, 512 gigs storage. I'm not sure what colour. Apparently there's going to be some new colours or not. Anyway, if in doubt, space grey. We shall see if it's announced tonight. I'm looking forward to the M2s, because I'm in that boat now where it's upgrade time. Okay, my favourite bit of Apple kit has been the iPad mini. A15 processor, 256 gigabytes of storage, goes like stink. Really good with video, which would have thought it. Processing wise, really it's small, it works, it does the thing. It's my favourite, and it's the thing that I'm looking at where I have my notes on UpNote at the moment. What else happened? Oh yeah, I have an iPod Touch version 7 as a dedicated podcast machine. Podcast listening. It's got Overcast on there, and a couple of weeks ago Apple said that's it, no more. Having a feeling that they might be just bought out by everyone in sight. I managed to get one from, where did I get it from? Apple? Amazon? Can't remember. Got one anyway, and started building it, got most of the software on there. My existing one is still going well. I've got it with me at the moment. Battery life is good, which is the main thing, and when the battery life starts going down badly, I've got a new battery put in there if it's still in support, and use the backup one. But I really like it. I mean, the idea after they both eventually disappear is maybe an iPhone SE without a SIM in it, or maybe even with a SIM in it, who knows. It's all a question of money, I suppose. Okay, what else? This is non-Apple. Google. I have a 3A, a Pixel 3A, which is the budget equivalent of the Pixel. There wasn't a 5A, not in this country anyway. I think it was just the United States and Japan. There is a 6A being announced on the, I think it's the 21st of July. You can get it remotely, and then retail is on the 28th. I'll be ordering one, and bit of 5G going on there. Even Tesco's can do 5G on the O2 network, so I'll be looking forward to that. The Pixel 3A really been a good phone, and as a mid-market stuff, it does everything I want it to do. Could do with a bit of extra storage though. I think that's the story of my life. iPad OS, rumour has it, updates to multitasking, windowing, much better, let's hope. And yeah, a plea again for the M2 MacBook Air. Maybe they'll have a sale, or not. So that's the Prelude. Come back tomorrow for what was actually announced. Apart from the software, if there's any hardware, it's going to be expensive. Right. This is part 2 of WWDC 2022. I've heard this described as Postlude as opposed to Prelude. Who knows? Anyway, if you don't want to watch all of this, it was a really good WWDC. There was a lot in it, he says, touching his notes. Anyway, just after 12 o'clock, British Summer Time, WWDC started at 1800 British Summer Time, the Apple Online Store went down. Oh yeah. Hanlon's Stormstay. They only do that if they're announcing new hardware. So it was going to be new hardware. Okay, so get back to the Premier Inn, buy the Wi-Fi, unpack, get everything ready. Everything was fine. Had the Dell and the MacBook Pro ready. It's fine. Connected up my iPad Pro to use Sidecar, and the Wi-Fi drops out, but just for the MacBook Pro. Nothing to do with that. Rebooted it, and it was a message saying already registered. Long story short, gave up. Watched WWDC on a Dell XPS 13, Windows 10. Somewhat of an irony there. Jump ahead to this morning, everything's working fine, Wi-Fi is working fine, dee-da, dee-da, dee-da. I just find it funny, really funny, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, just under 2 hours long, and lots of announcements. Starting off with iOS, a lot going on with the lock screen. You know, this is just sort of really tinkering around with things. It's not a major redesign. Notifications come up from the bottom. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get used to it, but you know. Messages really updated. Recall a message, edit a sent message, dictation with punctuation automatically. All looking rather good, to be perfectly honest. Again, iterative, because it's a mature operating system. Yeah, the wallet. I like the wallet. We don't get all the stuff in the UK that you get in the US with the wallet, and we're certainly not getting this thing, at least not in the beginning. Buy now, pay later. Apple will split your bill up into 4 interest-free credit, and there you go. I think in the UK they're looking at companies like this because of unsustainable buying. Yeah, I can understand that, but you know, I wish they would say available only in the US first or wherever first, and coming to X, Y and Z, not C, later, or even specifically. But you can't always get what you want. I think the Rolling Stones said that, to be perfectly honest. CarPlay. I think my next car will have to have CarPlay. At the moment it's a screen mount on my iPhone. But the way things are at the moment, and the cost of cars, and petrol or electric, and if it's electric, I'm going to keep it for quite some time, so it'll be screen mount-orama for a long time to come. And I'm thinking of pushing the car back home because petrol's gone up overnight, and yeah, petrol in America called gas. Right, I haven't got an iPhone, Apple Watch, iWatch. Yeah, I've only had half a pint so far. Mind you, 5%. Lots of updates there. Sleep tracking seems to be the big one. It is a health device. Also tracks your medicines, or meds as they call them in the United States. I think that's useful. Be useful on the phone as well, although the health app is now coming to the phone whether or not you've got a watch, which is good. I have a thing called Pedometer Plus Plus that tracks my walking. It's just on the iPhone, you don't need to do anything else, and I like it a lot. Really good. And then came the big one. New SEO tutorials. The big one for me was the M2. Really pleased with this. The MacBook Air. Yeah, M2, faster, squarer. Midnight is apparently very dark blue. There's still a space grey, which is sort of lightish grey. 2 Thunderbolt ports, a mag port for the power, and a 3.5mm headphone jack for high impedance devices as well. Yeah, I shouldn't jump ahead, but I priced one of those up. Okay, I want 16 gigs, I want 512 memory. I'm going to have to do some serious moving around of money. Luckily, they're not available until July. It was a bit vague on the July front. Also, an updated MacBook Pro 13-inch, which seems to be take the old M1 out, put the new M2 in. And apart from that, there you go for most of your hardware. macOS, various bits and pieces, passwordless entry, and they're trying to make it cross-platform, so if you have an app on another platform and you passwordless on the Mac, it'll throw up a QR code which you scan with your iPhone. As long as it is, well, it is actually, because Google and Microsoft are involved in it, and I like the look of that. Stage Manager. I'm in two minds about this. I really am. And it's also coming to the iPad Pro and iPad Air, as long as they have at least an M1. So my current iPad Mini with an A15, it won't work with. I'm not really sure what will happen with multitasking on a non-M1 device. Probably just stay as it is. On the Mac, I use Magnet. I like Magnet. It works. You could always copy what Microsoft are doing. They've got window snapping down to a fine art, which is unusual for Microsoft, but you know, sometimes their stuff works. Oh, by the way, when it came to the Mac OS stuff, the Wi-Fi dropped out on the Dell as well. Probably down for about 2 minutes before it came back. Thank you, Virgin Media. Unlimited Wi-Fi. Yeah, whatever. Well, here's my big thing. Apart from the MacBook Air, the masterpiece of the demonstration. Continuity camera. Coming sometime in the autumn, I believe, or the fall, as I say in the US. You can use your iPhone with a clip, which they didn't really talk about, but probably you're going to have to buy for an really expensive price, to work as your webcam with your iPad, or possibly as well with your M1 equipped iPad. Did I say iPad twice? I meant Mac. Oh, sorry. There you go. Right. Freeform. Let's have a go at the business market. Let's have a big white screen. Let's all contribute together. And why not? The disappointing thing for me, and for those Mac and Forth show people, no splitting up the audio, no pro apps, so no Final Cut Pro, no Logic, none of that. Although a general tidying up of various bits and pieces on the iPad, like a global search and replace and such like. Oh, and dialogues. Okay. The bad news. iOS 16 not available for the iPod Touch 7. I think that's a bit harsh. They've only just dropped it, and it means that before long certain apps probably won't work on it, or will be stuck a generation behind. But you know, what can you do? And finally this morning, apple.com/UK priced up. Yeah, I mentioned it. I want it. I'm gonna have to trade in my old MacBook Pro, definitely. And who knows when I'm going to get it. Probably just as well with the costs and such like. But as WWDCs go, and as tech theatres go, it was excellent. Really, really good. And oh, the irony. Watched on Microsoft Edge, on Microsoft Windows 10, on a Dell XPS 13. Sometimes life's like that. Anyway, bye bye. The usual comments, of course. Right, string these two together.